so much for joining us during this momentary distraction of simple amusements and magic. Well, good evening, everyone. Happy Friday to everyone out there. I already see a couple of names that I know. Danny Pritchett, if you're out there, hello to you. And then my brother from another mother, Micah. How are you doing, my friend? I hope everyone is doing great. I'm really excited about today. I was just having a wonderful conversation with Alan Fisher, who is our featured guest of the evening, and he's sitting patiently in the green room, and we had to really stop our conversation because we were having too much of a good time. We would have missed going on live with the show. But again, if this is your first time checking out the show, my name is Chris Herren as Faust, and this is episode 31. Can you believe that? 31 live streams from the time I started this off. And it's been over a year, so I'm still having a good time with it. So I'm going to continue on, and I hope to see you guys out there. Now, I'm going to look over in the comments. I see Anthony Darkstone out there. Oh, what an honor. Anthony, it is a pleasure to have you watch us today. And I do have a couple of announcements. Speaking of Mr. Darkstone, this Sunday, we are going to have the Society of American Magicians International Assembly Gala show. And that is this Sunday, and it's called the Gotham City Marvels on 8/29, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There's going to be a lot of guests on the show. Dr. Michael Likey, Anthony Darkstone, Austin Moody, Meadow Perry is going to be headlining the show. So tune in. It is free. It is all over Facebook. It's going to be via Zoom. And we'll be talking about this later on to where you could find the link. But again, this Sunday, the SAM International Assembly Gala show, Gotham City Marvels. Check it out, and you will definitely have a good time. And also, upcoming in the next couple of months, I have a collaboration that I am doing with Braden Daniels, and it is called Theory and Philosophy. And we really try to tackle subjects or bring to the table subjects of magic that are quite intriguing. Our last episode was on phenomenology. So check us out, and you'll see more of that on my Facebook page in the next couple of weeks or so. Speaking of Braden Daniels, I know he's performing in Texas. So if anyone out there is watching, Braden Daniels is going to be in Burleson, Texas, a magical night at the winery. So check him out, give him some love. And that is this Friday, September 3rd. So check him out. And if you're in that area, I'm sure he would appreciate it. And Braden Daniels is a wonderful magician. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, please say hello in the comments. And during our interview, feel free to ask questions and whatnot. We always like to interact with you and let you know that this isn't a pre-recorded interview with our featured guest. So please type away, and we'll definitely say hello to you. I see Anthony is making a comment. You now definitely thank you. Alan is part of the headlining of the show this Saturday, so please check it out. I also see Alexander Pinedo. Hello, how are you today? And thank you so much for tuning in. I also see Drew Lee Nicholas. Hello to you, and thank you for tuning in. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to introduce our featured guest of the evening. I'm sure you are all excited as well. You see, our featured guest of the evening has quite an extensive background. He is a magician, a comedian, and also trained in theater. But more notably, he was in the 2018 FISM competition, which is, for all you magic enthusiasts out there, is our version of the Olympics, or Magic Olympics as it would be. It's held every 3 years, and only the top 1% of magicians all over the world are invited to participate in the competition portion of FISM. And I can't say it's an honor enough to bring on our featured guest of the evening, Mr. Alan Fisher. Welcome.
Hi, I like the music.
It's a little whimsical, isn't it? You know, just to get.
It's perfect for me.
I'm going to go in the comments here. I see S. Patrick Toman says, hello, everyone. Hello back to you, sir. And also Alexander Pineda is giving you a round of threes. So here, Alan, threes mean applause. So that's for you, my friend, and welcome to the show. How are things, Alan, in Middle Tennessee?
Fortunately, dry at the moment. There have been a lot of news reports out because there's been tons of flooding about 2 hours west of here that got just devastated with floods earlier this week. And so many people were contacting me going, are you guys okay? We're fine. Here I'm an hour east of Nashville, and we're perfectly fine. The poor folks in Waverly, 2 hours to the west of us, are the ones that got wiped out. But we're fine. Thank you, everybody, for all the emails and the Facebook chats and that checking up on us. But we're good.
Well, it's good to know that everything is good out there, Alan. I know that the East Coast is getting hit pretty hard with weather out there. So it's always good. But on the magic community note, how are things as far as going back to live performances doing? I know you have the House of Magic out there in Nashville. How are things going on with live performances?
In this area, they were starting to pick back up. We didn't lock down as tight as we probably should have. So like my IBM ring has been meeting steadily for months and months and months. But we also do a virtual gathering as well.
Right.
Shows did start to pick up, but now with this surge, some things are tapering off. Our ring had a big fundraiser scheduled at a high school next month. It's been at least postponed, if not canceled, until spring because they just can't get outside groups into the schools right now. I've had a couple of private shows that had to cancel and then turn around and pick up 3 or 4 others. So it's real hit and miss right at the moment as far as, but it's not steady. It keeps coming in waves. You know, one day I'll get a call and I'll get 2 shows, and then 2 weeks later, one of them is canceled, but something else picks up. You're just bouncing all over the place.
Well, I think I have a feeling that's going to be of a norm in the next couple of months. I'm here in California, and yes, the same thing. It's very slow as far as the live performances, but they're slowly coming back, and I hope that wherever anyone is out there in the States, hopefully things become normal safely in the near future, you know. But Alan, I know we were having a good conversation back in the green room, and for people out there, we literally had to stop. We literally had to stop.
We wasted everything. We got nothing left to talk to folks about.
All my notes are just in disarray because I asked all the questions already. But Alan, For
So it's
those,
been nice talking with you folks. Have a good night. I'll see you.
good night, everyone. Alan, I have to ask. Everyone has an origin story, especially with magic. Now, I know that you started magic at the age of 6, but you also professionally, your professional life in magic started at 9. Could you tell us how all that started at age 6?
My dad's cousin was a magician. His name was Melvin Bain, and he came to perform at my 6th birthday party. And so the living room is packed, and Melvin's up doing his stuff. And at one point, he literally pulled a rabbit out of his hat, did a full Blackstone,
Oh,
and pulled a
wow.
bunny out of his hat. And my friends just all were like,
Yeah.
and the infamous story told for decades was that I uttered the phrase, well, how about that? And everyone thought it was so cute that Alan liked the little bunny trick.
Yes.
And no matter how I talked to him, I said, no. I was referring to my friends.
Right.
They were the ones freaking out over this bunny appearing. And I had seen magicians on TV. And, at 6 years old, that was, they were incredible. They were magical.
Yes.
And they're special kind of people because they do stuff. This was Melvin. Okay? He lived in the next town over. I played with his daughters. He's,
Yes.
He's a cousin. This is family. This is not, this is Melvin.
Right.
But he's doing magic. Oh, anybody can do that. You just have to learn how. And you can make all your friends look like, how about that? And the light bulb just went off.
Right.
I could do this. Oh. And so for that point on, my Christmas list was just little, easy magic tricks or something I would find in a Tannins catalog that I had to spend $5 to get back when it was a big hardbound book and go through going, I want this, I want this, I want this. And like, well, don't you want any toys? Yeah, these, I want this and this.
I totally relate.
and was able to put it all together. And I'm practicing, and my mom's Christian Daughters of America group, CD of A, Court Charleroi, hired me to come in for one of their banquets. And I got paid $20 to do 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I was 9 years old, and I was king of the world.
That's it. And then the magic bug hit, and that's all true.
And that was it. I never got off stage after that. Everything was done, the paper route, everything was so I could have money to buy more props. And that's when the addiction began.
Now, I have to ask, do you recall what your first prop was? Or, sometimes people have like this connection with the prop, and then they go and they buy that specific thing. I know recently my little nephew had seen the ball and vase, and he fell in love with it, and that's what he's been performing since. Is there a magic prop or a magic trick that you fell in love with?
I don't really remember. I know Melvin had given me a couple of gaffed cards where here's the Jack of Spades, and you would rub it, and now it's only a half size Jack of Spades, and you rub it again, and now it's only a quarter size Jack of Spades, and you rub it again, and now it's a blank card. You've rubbed all the faces off. He gave me that to start playing with. So that was like one of the first ones that I really just bugged people to death with. Like, watch.
No, Alan, I know that you have a diverse background in theater and comedy. Now, magic came first. Am I correct in hearing?
Oh yeah. Magic was my gateway drug to theater. And from there, I started getting involved in the plays. See, but magic, that was it. That was the focus. Okay, here we go. This is the focus.
Yeah.
But we're talking, I'm old. We're talking the mid 1960s. Okay. So what was big? Batman.
Right.
Batman was big. That was the Adam West series coming on. And I can remember watching that very first episode with Frank Gorshin as the Riddler and falling in love with the whole thing. I was just the right age, and I wanted all of Batman's toys. I still do. I still want a Batmobile and I want a Batpole, but I wanted to be the Riddler. I fell in love with that character
Yes.
and that. And then the next thing I know, that same actor shows up on Star Trek, my other favorite show that I would watch with my mom every night. Now Frank Gorshin's on that. I'm like, whoa, that's the Riddler. And my mom tells me, oh, that's Frank Gorshin. He's from Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
And we lived about an hour away from Pittsburgh.
Right.
Like, he's from Pittsburgh? Yeah, in fact, I think he's going to be at the Allegheny County Fair this year. We're going. And we go to the fair. So I could, and there now he's doing all these impressions, and I'm seeing him on Ed Sullivan because that's where you found magicians in those days.
Yes.
And so all of a sudden I'm realizing, okay, you can do magic, but apparently you can do lots of other stuff. You can be, if you're an actor, you could be the Riddler in Batman, and you can be Beale in Star Trek, and you can be doing imitations on Ed Sullivan, and you could be doing. Oh, so you can do lots of other stuff. And so I started branching out into more variety kind of things and getting involved in singing and acting and comedy and just having a ball. He became then the role model of just, oh, you can do lots of different things.
Yes.
And voices and dialects and all this stuff. And I pretty much plotzed myself as an adult when I got to meet him after a performance in New York of his one-man show, Say Goodnight, Gracie.
Yes.
I'm standing there looking at my idol, and I'm going, can I have an autograph? He goes, yeah, page 6 is the picture. Oh, yes, here we go. And I'm talking about Batman and how I got into magic. And he looked at me, I got you into magic? No, you got me from magic into comedy and voices and dialects and everything else. He went,
yes.
Oh, cool. That sounds cool. You're from Pittsburgh. Neat. And so, it's like,
I understand.
I'm fine.
No,
but that then started the ball rolling and getting involved in the plays at school, and eventually went to college for theater and got a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in musical theater. And worked for 4 years at the Pittsburgh Playhouse Theater Center, off stage, on stage, doing everything from Shakespeare to Neil Simon to You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Well, it definitely shows, Ellen, that I've seen many of your videos and your theatrical background shows, which leads me into another question that I have. You are definitely, you are obviously trained in theater and comedy. Is there a mentor or a teacher that you gravitated towards for magic?
Not really, with the exception of who was on TV. I had Melvin, who would show me some things every now and then. And my grandparents lived in Florida. They lived in Sarasota, winter base camp for Ringling Brothers. And the woman who lived next door was a snake charmer, and her husband was a magician with the circus for years and years and years, Eve Aldridge. So anytime we'd go down to visit them, I'd run over to visit Eve and talk showbiz, and she was a ventriloquist. And so we've got pictures of me with her figure that she did USO tours with. And she actually gave me a set of Buddha papers that I had for years.
Wonderful.
And she also gave me Chords of Fantasia. It's a very, very old version of Chords of Fantasia, where the ropes were a real fine satin.
Yeah.
So the silk scarves would slide through them so easily, and I used that in my show for years.
I love that. Yeah.
I ran the ropes out, and I still do it in a couple of different variations.
Yeah.
With different kinds of presentations, but I've probably been doing that in my act for 40 years. The rest of it was just watching magicians on TV. Mark Wilson's Magic Circus was big. Doug Henning, when he came along, that was huge. I actually got to go to New York that one summer to see him on Broadway in the original Magic show.
Wow.
And got to meet him and most of the cast afterwards. I still have the souvenir program that they all signed.
Yes.
The only one I didn't get to sign was the guy playing one of his assistants in the show. He left too fast for me to get his autograph.
Wow.
And that was Eddie Mecca. who years later went on to be Carmine Ragusa on Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, one of Eddie Mecca's early jobs was he was one of Doug's assistants in the Magic Show at the Court Theater in the original run.
Wow.
In fact, that's what we called this backdrop for years. This is Doug Henning's underwear.
Bravo.
But yeah, it was him, and then of course going into the Copperfield era.
Yeah.
And just those guys on television, and especially Copperfield with the huge theatrics that he would put into everything. I mean, if he was doing an Elmsley count, there was a fan blowing his hair and lighting from the back. I mean, there was nothing small. It was all big and theatrical, and it fit perfectly with the stage character and what he wanted to do. And so I'm looking at that and Doug Henning with the tie-dye and jumping around and everything's groovy and wonderful, and kind of mixing those together with that classic approach of Mark Wilson and going, somewhere in here, there's me. I'll find it.
Yes.
And it turned out to just be me taking a prop and coming up with the wildest presentations I could, the most unusual, because that's how I was able to make the magic my own.
Right.
And that then became my hook, was the comedy and the storytelling. And just the chords of Fantasia. Here's a couple of ropes, and there's 3 silk scarves in it, and they all get tied up. And I do it about being stuck in traffic.
Right.
No one else is doing it that way. So even if somebody else down the street has the same prop, it doesn't look like my show. And that's the niche I started to get booked as, was I'm doing something different with that.
Yeah. I think, Alan, you bring up a good point. Finding a voice in magic is probably one of the most difficult things, to truly find an authentic voice. Now, before we go on to my next question, which I've been waiting to bring up, I wanted to point out that Drew Lee Nicholas, he says hi to you, Alan.
Hi, Drew.
And then also Jonathan Molo's out there. So Jonathan Molo, he just had he just had his performance at the Magic Castle. And then also James here is from the Philippines. He wanted to say hello to you. And then Kim, and also a good friend of mine, and Jeffrey Allen.
Jeffrey Allen. Yes, hello, Jeffrey.
From the American Museum of Magic. So I just wanted
Magic, yes.
So, hello to everyone out there again. And, but Alan.
Oh, thank you all for tuning in. I had this great fear was going to be Chris, me, and my daughter. That was going to be it.
I was just going to turn on some other phones or something just to have an audience. But Alan,
lines are now open if you'd like to phone in for Fun with Flags with Dr. Sheldon Cooper. Phone lines are open.
Yes. Alan, which leads me to, now that we have a good round understanding of your background, and you're basically self-taught as a magician, which is quite amazing. And you eventually, here's a question for you, Alan.
Yeah.
When did magic stop becoming a hobby for you, and you really knew that this was a direction that you wanted to take to a different level? If that makes sense. Around that
high school. Yeah, I knew I wanted that magic was going to be a part of it. Life as a performer, as an entertainer. That was the ultimate goal, and a big chunk of that would be magic. Acting would be in there, other stuff, but magic was going to be a big component. And I can remember meeting with my guidance counselor in high school.
Yeah.
And him saying, "Okay, what do you want to, what do you want to be when you grow up?"
Yeah, what do you want to be?
And I said, I'm going to be a magician." And he kind of looked at me, and he looked at my score sheets, and went, "Oh, this is the part of the job I just." I'm looking at your test scores here and your aptitude, and you just don't have the numbers for it.
Oh.
Now at this point, I've been getting paid to do shows for like 9 years or so.
Right.
And I went, I don't have, but I've applied to Point Park College, now Point Park University, in Pittsburgh, for the theater department. "Oh yeah, you ought to be able to get in there. Your scores are good enough for that, but you just can't." You just don't have them. I said, I don't have the numbers to be a magician? No.
Wow.
Okay. And I reached in my back pocket, pulled out a deck of cards, and I did 10 minutes
Wow.
and went, well, if I can't do it, I can't do it. And I got up and walked out of his office.
Yes.
And that's when I went, yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes. Absolutely. You know, that's an amazing story. You know, if you had not, and the reason why I bring this up is because, you know, some of us just really do magic as a hobby. You've taken it to a whole different level. And the reason why I say that, Alan, is not everyone decides to put themselves out there on the public stage to be judged, to be criticized. Not only that, on the world stage. And that is something that you did with FISM and also IBM SAM national competition. Could you tell us a little bit about what motivated you to embark on that road, which is terrifying for me to take on? But what motivated you? What inspired you?
I've been doing competitions for decades.
Yeah.
Because I found it is a great motivator
Yes.
to get you to focus on a routine and a deadline and to really try to put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
But it's also a great way to get noticed, to get your name out there, to make friends. You know, the local convention, we call it local, it's about 3 hours away in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, at the Country Tonight Theater. Ring 158 out of Knoxville every year hosts the Winter Carnival of Magic.
Yes.
Great 3-day convention. And I've been in the contest so many times. You know, they kind of look at me as they're going over the rules for the contestants. They go, Alan, did we forget anything? You know, but I started doing that 20 years ago or more when we had first moved down to Tennessee as a way to get up there, get in front of a bunch of folks I don't know. Yeah, you're putting yourself out there, but you learn magic because you want to share it, because you want to entertain, and you got that need. You got to be up and performing and giving out. And so I'm just doing it on stage in the competition and having a ball.
Yes.
And afterwards, everybody's coming up. Oh, that was so interesting. Oh, well, you did this and you did that, blah, blah, blah. And then year after year, you get to know people. And next thing you know, more important people are visiting with you. And even more important people are stopping by your table in the lounge at the hotel lobby going, hey, that was some interesting stuff. Let me sit down and chat with you, blah, blah, blah. So that was a big thing. That and my wife's cookies. Anymore, I get the feeling people want to invite me to come to a convention so they get my wife's cookies. That's become a huge thing of people going, Alan's here. Is he carrying cookies?
Yeah. What's that in his hand?
You know, the standard joke was they were out of cookies in Korea, which is how I got invited to FISM.
Right. Right. So FISM. So in 2018, it was in Busan.
It was in Busan, South Korea.
Yes.
The North American Championships was held the year before at the IBM SAM Combined Convention in Louisville.
Right.
So if you got into that competition, you were actually in 3 competitions at the same time. Okay. You were in the IBM, you were in the SAM, and you were in the North American Championship. Everything was being 3 sets of judges were looking at you as you did your one shot. Here's my goal. And then do you get to the finals? Okay, boom. And then you sit back and see what happens from there. But yeah, so that was 3 competitions at one time. And you're just going, okay, this is going to be fun. You're in a shoebox, a giant shoebox of a room for 1,000 people. And I'm up on stage. But, me and the other close-up guys are going, oh, the camera is way over there and over here. Okay, well, I got an angle. Which am I looking? And everybody's looking up on jumbotrons to see what you're doing. And you're sitting there with, you got like 3 poker chips going, okay, if I hold like this, they're going to see. So okay, I got to turn like this for the camera because
Oh boy.
And people are freaking out, and we're all going, can't we be in a little room where the judges are like 6 feet away and we just show them
Right.
stuff? No, okay.
Let me perform. Just let me.
You
Now,
learn to roll with the punches. You learn that in theater. I learned that doing 2,500 singing telegrams. I mean, we did anything to earn a living and pay the bills as an actor, and you just learn to roll with it.
well, I gotta ask you, Alan, what is out of going with doing a huge world stage competition like FISM? What did you get out of it? What sort of experience did you leave after all was said and done after that experience?
I had a ball.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, straight up. We never expected me to go.
Yeah.
I mean, when there were little goals. The first win was getting in, submitting the tape, and it being accepted and saying, yes, you can be in the IBM SAM North American Championship. That was win 1.
Yeah.
Win 2 is into the finals. Cool.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, the last night of the competition. They put all the contestants in the front row of the theater there in Louisville, and they're starting to hand out awards. And I thought, okay, I had a very original act. It was very theatrical. Maybe there's some kind of theater award or something. Yeah, okay. Sitting, waiting, and they hand out all the awards, and it's nothing, and we're done. I went, okay. I still had fun. I enjoyed it. I got in front of 2,000 people that have not met me, and lots of them were coming up telling me how much fun they had watching me. Okay, this is cool. And now in no particular order, ladies and gentlemen, here are the people that are being invited to compete at FISM in Korea next year. Blah 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 blah. Alan Fisher, and I just screamed, "What? What did he say? You're going to FISM? What?" And now I'm flabbergasted. So now that's the ultimate win, was getting the invitation.
Right.
Of course, I had to call the family. In fact, I'm texting my daughter back here in Tennessee, and I went, competition is over. I didn't win anything.
Yeah.
And she types back, that's okay. I know you did your best. I said, yeah. But because before I left, my wife gave me a big hug and a kiss and said, do well, but not too well. We can't afford Korea. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm typing, I didn't win anything. My daughter says, well, I'm sure you did your best. I said, but I got an invitation to compete at FISM.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, Korea. That's the message that comes back.
Right.
Wait about 10 seconds, and the next message, Mama wants you to call.
Now.
Yeah. Hi, hon. Yeah, Korea.
Alan.
So that became the win.
Yes.
That I got to go. We knew I wasn't going to win the damn thing. There's no way. The win was getting in. The win was being allowed to go. Yeah. The win was we could afford it. The win, because it was not cheap, kids. Yes. Save up your pennies. Right. The win was just going and showing up and seeing my name in the book and having the badge that said contestant.
Wow.
And standing there watching them build the stage for the close-up competition, because I was in Parlour and looking at the schedule to see when we're going to compete, when we're going to tech, and then being backstage with all of these other acts. Some of them I knew, some of them I'm just meeting guys from other countries. And my goal was just, we're going to have fun.
Yes.
We're going to relax. We're going to be silly. We're going to have fun. Because they're pulling their hair out. They're freaking out. It's just, oh my God.
Yeah. Yes.
Breathe. And let's get silly. And I'm kidding around with the other people. And Jim Vines, my buddy Jim Vines, was competing in the same session as I was. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is good. Yeah, calming down. This is good. And so Jim's getting into it with me. And as the contestants were coming off, we're back in the hallway applauding them and cheering them on. How is it going? How is it? Great. Do you need any help getting your stuff out? Okay, hey, can you help me carry this? So we became a team. We became this little mini family.
Right.
And if you go back and look, most of the people that did really well in Parlour were in our day.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I'm the reason, but I take credit for us being relaxed and silly, because I heard from guys in the stage competition where it was cutthroat.
Yeah.
At times back there. And we nicknamed the hallway Ego Alley, and we just decided we're not going to be that. We're going to be fun and silly. And as the action coming off, we're touring around and playing with them, and everybody's having a ball, and we're
Right.
hugging each other, congratulating each other on how we do. And when the final winners were announced, like I think the top 2 or 3 from Parlour were our day.
Yes.
And we're all going up to them, hugging them, going, "It was great losing to you. Wasn't this fantastic?" They're like, "Yes, this was fun."
Yeah. Well, just to bring things in perspective for those who are not familiar with FISM, is it correct to say, Alan, that just to get into the competition itself, you're talking about maybe 1.5% of the best magicians in the world being invited to compete? So you are in
You're in very elite company.
Yes.
You literally are standing shoulder to shoulder with giants,
Yes.
with the hottest names coming and going, and you're looking out at the judges who are all mega names in our industry, and the folks in the audience are the heroes that I've got your book, I got your DVD, I've got your, and they're all looking at you, and it's like, this is going to be great.
Yes.
And the thing parted, and I like, ta-da!
Which leads me, Alan, to say, it is a huge honor, and you have all the respect that I'm sure many people out there know the difficulty just to get in. So I mean, I commend you. Bravo to you, Alan. And
I got in as an old guy. That's one of the things. I think I was the second or third oldest competitor that year.
well,
I probably the second oldest. Stuart McDonald. Stuart always teases that he was the oldest one, and we put out our birth certificates. No, I'm older than he is. He may have gotten more awards with his Spooky Mirror Act, but I got the AARP award. Just remember that. And I may have been one of the oldest Americans ever to compete, which is something people always ask me, go, what was it like competing against all those young guys, all those young whippersnappers? And I went, it was invigorating. It was exciting looking and seeing where magic is and where it's going to be years from now, and seeing this incredibly talented group of guys in their 20s and 30s, half my age, quarter of my age, doing phenomenal things.
Yes.
And nobody caring about the age thing. And nobody saying, "Grandpa, here's your cane," or none of that stuff. It was just, cool, you made it. You're doing this. That's interesting. Here's what I'm doing. I like that. Blah, blah, blah. And then, so it became a brotherhood. That was just so neat. And the same thing happened in Louisville at the combined convention. We all just bonded as brothers, and we were there ready to help each other because we were being the stage crew, really moving stuff back and forth for each other. And I know Jim Vines was the last guy competing in Louisville, and he has some confetti at the end of his money act, and they weren't going to let him do it unless he put a drop cloth down.
Right.
And he's like panicking because he finds this out like 15 minutes before we're to start. And we just all looked at him and went, "Look, there's a cloth over there.
Grab
I found the duct tape. He's got the cloth. You get your props in place. We'll get the cloth down.
Yeah.
And you just worry about your act." And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And this is the North American Championship. We're battling to try to get the FISM, but screw it. He needs our help. We're pulling together, and we're making sure everybody gets a fair shot. Everybody gets equal time, and nobody's in the back going, "I didn't put the tape down right. I got a piece of glitter on the floor."
And that's the last thing you want to be thinking about in a competition, and
because you're going to blow everything out the window. You're not, because all you're worried about is that one piece of glitter land 2 feet over the line, and I'm going to be this. No, just concentrate on the act, concentrate on the performance, enjoy the moment.
Yes.
This is your moment. The lights are on. Joan Caesar said that to me just before we did the competition in Korea, because she and Obi O'Brien were coordinating the Parlour and close-up stuff. And just before I went out, she kind of looked at me and went, "It'll be over soon." And I went, "Yeah, it will." She's like, "You're the only one here. Everybody else is sweating bullets, can't wait for it to be going. You're the only one depressed. It's going to be done soon. Yeah, because this is it. This is the moment. And they asked us to put a video together, like a 10-second bumper that they could run before we came on, but they wound up not using them and they made their own. Okay, but we didn't get to see them, so they're up on the the jumbo screen, and they just had a bunch of flats on wheels. They rolled in front of you and rolled back out. That was opening and closing the curtain for our parlor and stage competition. There was no actual curtains. It was just 16-foot long flats on carts that would roll in and roll back out. So I'm standing back there because I wanted to be in pose. I would be discovered when they rolled it out. But they start running the video, and I've not seen it. So I'm looking to see what they. Oh, so they use that clip. They use that picture. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And the thing starts to move, and I went, oh crap. The thing opened. I was going to be looking up the video, going, oh, not. Oh, hi.
Alan, which leads me to ask you the question. I know you're performing at the Society of American Magicians International Gala show.
Oh, yeah.
And to bring that up, actually, let's go over some of these comments. Raleigh Rock, a good friend of mine, she's a burlesque dancer. I think she's suggesting that the burlesque dancers aren't so as kind as you guys or whatnot, but definitely, I totally understand.
Oh, no. Raleigh, for 6 years, I toured with an off-Broadway show called Big Bad Burlesque. I was a baggy pants comic for 6 years. So I know all about burlesque. We need to get together and tell some bump and grind stories.
Oh, yeah. Raleigh is a good friend. She's a wonderful dancer, and actually also a mime, which we kind of connect with, our characters. And also Charlie Snyder says hello out there. We're going to have him come on as a guest later on. But Alan, I have to ask you, with FISM, and the performance that you did. Now, I got a glimpse of the performance that you did. And from my understanding, this Sunday you will be doing a variation of your FISM act at the International Assembly show, Gala show. Could you give us a little a hint of what to expect with your performance?
Yeah, for FISM, I did it was an 8-minute act that opened up with a matrix routine with poker chips.
Yes.
And then followed up that on the theme of the poker chips were a big inspiration and a big part of life, the latter half of the 19th century and the riverboat gamblers. And then I went into a character story about a character from that era of the riverboat gamblers and con artists of their day, all built around a science experiment or kid's toy called Newton's Nightmare.
Right.
And that was just one of those, everybody bought them when they came out because they were so neat. You sit and play with them and go, wow, this is so cool. And then we throw it in the junk drawer.
Yep.
Everybody did that. And I just sat down and went, no, damn it, I've done this too much. My wife hates the junk drawer because there's magic stuff laying all around. I'm doing something with this.
Yes.
And so I got it and I wrote a story and started doing it, just telling a story about this character and build up. And when the chance came up to say, hey, I end it with a little rhyming couplet. Let me do the whole thing as a poem, the Homer's Odyssey of magic. Let me just make it an epic poem and a theatrical piece, and started putting it in competitions and getting really good results. And so that became the act that I wound up taking to FISM. So the story portion of it is what I'm going to do in Sunday's show. It's going to be very different from what folks who have only known me through these Zoom sessions, through my appearance on the Darkstone dossiers or the lectures that I've done for the IBM or the SAM, where it's heavy on comedy. This is a dramatic theatrical piece. It's one I'm very proud of, and I can't wait to revisit it and bring it back to life on Sunday.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, Alan. I'm going to bring up a couple of highlights here, notes. So that's going to, if anyone out there wants to see Alan's act, and I highly recommend it because it is an exceptional performance. He's going to be doing it on the International Assembly Gala show. That's this Sunday, and it's free, right, Alan?
Oh, yes, it is free. It is open to the public. You don't have to be a member of the International Assembly. Don't even have to be a member of the SAM. This is open to the public, and we have a phenomenal lineup of talent because not just me, but there's this gentleman performing as Faust. What was his name again? Oh, yes, Chris Herren. He's going to be there. And I mean, we've got Dr. Michael Leike, and we've got Arthur Trivoli. We have Charles Magician, Alexander May, Austin Moody, Neto Perry. I mean, this is a phenomenal show, and that's not even everybody. We've even got a secret special guest that's going to be making an appearance. It's really going to be a huge show, and it's free, and it's open to the public. And there'll be a meet and greet afterwards where folks can chat with all of us and have a ball. And if you want to attend on Facebook, if you're in the magic world, the posts have been up everywhere on most of the SAM sites, on some of the IBM sites. If you can't find anything, go to Alan Fisher Magic on Facebook, and the link is there for sure.
Yeah.
If no place else, so that you can join us. It's 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 3 p.m. where I'm sitting in Tennessee. I think that's like 8 p.m. in London time.
Yes.
Use Google Clock to figure out when that fits for you. But you don't want to miss this one because it is literally a star-packed, stellar cast that Anthony has put together. J. Scott Barry's our director. Brett Saul's our technical guy, and it's going to be the show. You don't want to miss it.
Yes, you don't want to miss it, guys. So like I said, you could I'm going to put up your social media, Alan, so that people can see. If you want a free show this Sunday, check out Alan Fisher Magic. You'll see the Zoom link on there. Again, it's free, and you're going to see a bunch of people headlining this show.
So much talent packed into that show.
Thanks to the International Assembly Gala, produced by none other, Anthony Darkstone. So I can't wait for that. Now, Alan, I want to make sure people know where to find you. And is this the correct website
that
for
work? AlanFisherMagic.com. That'll get you there. If you go on the Facebook page, Alan Fisher Magic, scroll back through the timeline to 2018. We shot a lot of video when we were over in Korea, behind the scenes, on the day of the competition. As soon as I was done looking around the stuff, so if you want kind of an insider view of what it was like over there, we had a lot of good videos we posted, a lot of stories. If you remember, the SAM Assembly V1.1 did a round table of about 4 or 5 of us that went and competed that year. And that's on the Magic Sam site in the archives. And there's a lot of wonderful stories that we told there. Look for the deep fried lobster story. You'll know it when you get there.
Well, for everyone out there, please, I know Alan's got a lot of videos out there, and it'll be kind of nice to see your journey, especially with FISM. Alan, we come to that point in our show that I always ask our featured guests a very special set of questions, if I may. And if you're willing, I would love to have you participate in. Is that okay? Would you like?
That's fine. You're just gonna fire away questions. This is the you ask, I answer right off the top of my head. And I must say, you're a very brave soul. Not many folks would turn me loose like this. Just ask Anthony. Last time he did that, I told a diaper story that had 12 people fall off the chair. So you never know what's going to happen.
Well, this is the forum to do just that, Alan. So let's get wild. Let's get wild, my friend.
All right. Fire away.
These questions are not original to me, but it is someone that I really admired growing up, and his name was James Lipton from Inside the Actors Studio, and he would ask a lot of his actor friends and guests these sets of questions. But I always wondered how would a magician answer these sets of questions? But you know, I also did some research regarding these questions. These are actually parlor questions from the Victorian era, and it was made popular by Marcel Proust, who was a very, very famous poet at the time. And I think these questions were used to document where a person's mindset was at during that time. And so with these questions, Alan, I hope that we can kind of document a little bit.
Wait a minute. Is
that-
this some kind of test to see whether or not they get to lock me up? Hang on. I remember taking these tests in school. Wait a minute. All right. Now you're scaring me. Here we go.
But anyways, I know you'll have fun with it. Alan, this is what we call the Lipton questions. Alan, the first question of the night, Alan, is what is your favorite magic word?
I usually wind up with abracadabra never really works out, but kapocus.
Kapocus.
Kapocus. Because it's different.
Indeed. What is your least favorite magic word, Alan?
Alakazam. Because it's overused.
What turns you on in magic?
Getting engrossed in the performance and the story being told by the artist.
Well said. What turns you off in magic, Alan?
Watching someone that's just doing an exhibition of skill. I don't care how long you practice your this move or that move. If that's all you're doing, you're missing the performance. I want to be entertained. I just don't want to see how fast your fingers can fly. Bring me into the magic. Don't just put it there.
What sound or noise in magic do you love?
The sound I get out of an audience when I'm doing a comedy bit and I've gotten the laugh, but the trick works. And so it's been, oh. So you get that moment at the end where they suddenly realize, oh, wait, the magic actually worked. He was very funny, but oh. And then you get a different level of applause coming back at you.
What sound or noise in magic do you hate?
Thunk. Because somebody hit something or dropped something when they weren't supposed to, and it went thunk.
What is your favorite cuss word?
We're on TV. I've had a child for so long. I edit myself constantly. Mother Fletcher, I say a lot. Barflugel, I'll say a lot. I will occasionally go into Yosemite Sam and just as I try not to. There was a whole routine I used to do with a one-head prediction where I'd have someone in the audience. One of the things with the predictions was their favorite dirty word. We'll go into that story when we're done with the questions.
Yes. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh. I would love to do voiceover work in cartoons. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have been involved in animation in some way. If I'm not drawing the characters or having to design the original characters, doing the voices for them.
Yeah.
Because I never did any of that, and I would have loved to.
What profession would you not like to do?
Oh, there's a whole animal birthing thing with elephants that I know too much about that I really would never want to be a part of.
I think that's the first time I ever heard that. Alan, the final question of the night is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Bravo.
Bravo indeed, Alan. Thank you so much for sharing your life with us and all the stories. I myself have been very inspired by everything you have said. And thank you so much for participating in the questions.
Oh, that was great. I'm looking at some of the comments over here, people saying things. It's like, oh, this is so cool. I'm sorry. I'm a geek. What can I tell you? I'm having a ball.
And
we don't have to be. The show's not till Sunday. We can keep going.
Right. You know, we could pull Anthony up on here. We could talk about it.
He threatens that there's going to be a competition at some point to see between him and me which one talks the longest.
Alan, I always leave it to the guest to close out the show. Is there anything you want to say to the audience before we close out the show? Any positive thoughts that or even advice for those prospective FISM contestants in the world?
Remember, it is better to have loved and lost than to be conned by a hooker. For everybody that's ever sat there and played with a deck of cards and dreamed, let me tell you this quick story, because this is dead truth. 2016, the SAM convention in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Now, jump back years before then, and I'm playing with Color Monty. I just happen to have one of the cards here.
Yeah.
And I hated the routine because of the special move you had to do at the beginning. I looked at that and went, blah, threw it away. Couldn't stand it. And again, it's in the junk drawer. I'm playing with it, and I just, out of frustration, moving with it and trying not to reveal any secrets to all the happy muggles that are out there. But my hand stumbled on a frustration count, and it just fit so perfectly. And I went, wow, this changes everything. Suddenly, this became one of my favorite little packet effects, and I'm doing it like this for years. Okay, so that's in, late 70s. We jump ahead to the 2016 SEM convention in Indianapolis. Mir Yedid is one of the lecturers.
Yeah.
I got a seat down front because I love this man's work and his stuff. Just, and he's going through, all of a sudden he says, here's a little something. I've never included this in a lecture, but follow with me. Yeah. Color Monty, the opening, it's so clumsy. I never liked it. Look what I did. And he proceeds to show using a frustration count as a replacement. And I'm sitting there going, now, did I think for 1 minute Mir Yedid just ripped me off? Hell no. The thought that went through my mind was, he came up with this idea independently, but it was a good enough idea that Mir Yedid thought of it and thought it was strong enough to put it in a lecture at an SAM convention.
Yes.
I stumbled on something pretty good. Maybe I stumbled on some other things pretty good. Maybe I need to go back and relook at a few other things. Maybe there's some other diamonds in the rough that I've been just fluffing off because it's just little old me. And I went back and I found a piece that I'd been doing for a number of years that I liked, but wasn't spectacular. It was a story about a gambler. It used Newton's nightmare. And I started working on it and said, no, there's something more here. And I wrote the story out as a poem, and we added a costume in for the era and music behind it. And the next thing you know, I'm in competitions with it, and I'm getting first and second places. And the next thing you know, I'm in the IBM SAM North American Championship. And next thing you know, I'm standing in Korea performing. And I always thought of it as performing. I never really thought of it as competing, even though that's what it is. But in my mind, it says I'm performing, I'm sharing, I'm having a ball. They're going to like it. They're not going to like it. At this point, I don't care. I'm here. I'm standing on Mount Olympus of magic.
Yes.
All because I had the confidence in myself to trust that the material I had been doing was better than I thought it was. And I got that out of just a single run-of-the-mill comment from Myriad, and we went up to him at the booth afterwards, and I explained the whole story, and he just looked at me and went, see, great minds think alike. And I thought, no, your great mind thought of this. My mind stumbled upon it, but your great mind just inspired me to go back and rethink what I've been doing.
Yes.
And realizing that what I've been doing was better than what I thought. And that gave me that confidence boost that 2 years later, literally 2 years later, I'm standing in Korea performing at FISM and competing with these other phenomenal artists.
Right.
That's the story. That's the inspiration that I want to be able to share with anyone in magic. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter how long you've been looking for anything. It doesn't matter how many of these organizations you belong to or don't belong to. Have the confidence in yourself to try. And you do that by getting in those competitions. Get out there and take that risk.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself enough and do it at your magic club. I know so many guys go to magic clubs. They just sit there in the back. No. That's the proving ground. That's your safety net. Go and fail there. Try out the new material there. Die at your magic club. Because that's the best place to do it. Get the feedback and just remember to have fun the whole time.
Yep. Yeah.
That's it.
Alan, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your magical journey. I will always take that last quote, die at your local magic club. And you know what? It does sound funny, but I understand that. I understand it real well. Just do it. Give it all you got. And that's what I take from your words, your wisdom, and the journey that you have shared with us. Thank you. And I want to throw a shout out there to Rod Chow, President Rod Chow, who is the Society of American Magicians president. He is out there.
Yeah, he's our president-elect.
President-elect.
President-elect. Yeah, he will be the upper mucky muck next year. And Rod is competing. He was in the IBM convention and did extremely well. And I believe he's prepping an act to take to North American Championships in Quebec City here in a couple of months.
Absolutely. We are thankful for your words, Alan. And thank you so much for sharing your story once again. I hope everyone...
Look at Micah's comment. Look at Micah's comment.
Okay. I was trying to get sentimental, Micah, but I guess we're going there.
That's lovely. I love it.
We're going there. Guys, I hope everyone had fun tonight. And Alan, once again, thank you so much. I wish I could keep you on and just keep on talking, but this just gives us reason to bring you back and maybe bring Micah back with us so we can have a blast on the live stream. But
anytime, my friend, anytime.
Thank you, Alan, once again. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a happy Friday tonight. And please tune in Sunday, see Alan, see myself, and all the amazing performers on that night. And we will catch you once again here on Faust and Company. So take care, everyone, and good night.